You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Today, on our first host call of the weekend, we're going to be taking your questions from the past week to 2 weeks. We've got more and more questions coming in every single week, and I promise I will get to all of them. Some of them will actually be used for episodes, so if your question is not being answered this weekend or next, it will be used for a longer episode, and those are the ones that, obviously, they need a little bit more time than just about 3 minutes for me to answer those. So, let's get into our first question of the day. We've got really great questions this weekend. The first one is from Danielle, and Danielle is asking, is it beneficial to use food-grade diatomaceous earth as a seasonal cleanse? So let's talk about what that is. So diatomaceous earth is actually, it's a powder, typically a white-based powder. It kind of looks like flour, and it's actually from the fossilized remains of phytoplankton, so like marine phytoplankton from the sea. And so what happens is it's a very high silica content, and it looks essentially like shards of glass under a microscope. So when you eat this, which is actually food, again, you have to get food grade, right? Food grade diatomaceous earth is very different than the stuff that you would put in pools. And that's because the diatomaceous earth that you put in pools that kills bugs and different bacteria like that is about 70%, 75% crystalline silica, which means that it's not natural, right? Usually the silica that we're getting from nature, or at least from diatomaceous clay or earth, is only 1%. So again, food grade is very different than you would put into pools or anything like that. Now, diatomaceous clay, you're probably already getting it to this day or right now, and that's because if you're eating any type of grain, rice, maybe oats, things like that, farmers or warehouses will throw large amounts of diatomaceous clay onto their stock of grain. And the reason they do this is so that it kills any of the bugs that are basically lurking in any of the grain. And it works by that because it basically breaks down the exoskeleton of bugs, that hard layer. It works to dehydrate the bugs, so obviously that can kill them. And it works to also scrape and destroy the outer layer of the bugs as well. So that's how it kills them. Now, what does it do for humans? Well, if you have bugs in your gut, meaning like you have potentially parasites or yeast or anything like that, it can help to kill those things as well. So Danielle is asking, is it beneficial for me to do this and my family to do this for 1 week, a year or so? There's absolutely really nothing wrong with that. The side effect that you have to watch out for is you make sure that you don't breathe the stuff into your lungs, right? I mean, there's been a few cases of people saying that they get this in their lungs and it's causing lung-based issues, but you shouldn't be breathing in flour in the first place or clay or diatomaceous earth. So my recommendation is you can do this. It's not a recommendation that I typically give people, but if you're getting good results with it and you do want to try it, no problem at all. I do recommend, not a seasonal cleanse. I recommend detoxes, yes, but a cleanse using something that has more like bentonite clay, or it has something like activated charcoal with that. And that will actually pull a lot of the toxins out of the body as well. That's really nice to do once or twice a year as well. And again, we show you what we use right on my website for the cleanse that we prefer. So Danielle, yeah, if you're getting great results, I have no problem with you doing that. And again, the research that I've seen, everything I've looked at, absolutely no harm in you doing that once a year or so. Okay. Next question is from Leah. Leah is asking, is it possible to take too many supplements or superfoods? I am currently taking 1 Women's Daily, MSM, omega-3s, probiotics, spirulina, and then also adding in spinach, peaches, almond milk. That's fine because that's food. Bee pollen, flaxseed and chia seeds, 2 tablespoons of gelatin collagen, and just started taking some turmeric supplements and thinking about adding in some maca. Okay, so let's look at all this. Now, to your average person, that might seem like, whoa, this person's doing a ton of stuff. But to be honest, you're really not you're taking more herbs and foods than you are actual like vitamins, okay? So we're talking about you're taking more superfoods or herbs than you are anything that might be like a vitamin or mineral functional medicine based. So really what you're taking is a multivitamin. You're taking MSM, which is a sulfur-based detoxifying compound. You're taking omega-3s. Someone make the argument that that's natural. It's from, it's fish-based. And you're taking probiotics. Now, the rest of it, the spirulina is an algae. The fruit and all of that doesn't matter. The bee pollen, I would consider that fairly natural as well. Flax and chia seeds are what they are. Gelatin is more supplement-based. It's more like the omega-3 because it's derived from something else. Turmeric and maca are both root-based and more herb-based. So I really don't have a problem with anything that you're doing right now. Everything you're doing is absolutely fantastic. So the only reason you wouldn't do any of this is if you were having an adverse reaction to maca or to turmeric because you have a food sensitivity or an issue with those. And the other one is only use MSM if you need a sulfur-based compound. And if you don't need the sulfur-based compound on a daily basis, which you won't eventually, take out the MSM. That would be the only thing. My only recommendation to you is take out the MSM once you're done with your specific detoxification with that. But for the most part, again, you're doing really healthy things for your body and they're pretty much all food-based. And so don't feel bad about using those at all. Really, the only people that shouldn't be using all of those things are or is anyone who just, financially is not able to afford all of those great superfoods. So, Leah, keep up the great work. All right, Chad is up next. Chad is asking, why don't you use homeopathy in your treatment plan? So I've been kind of sitting on this question for a little bit, and that's because I don't want to offend anyone that uses homeopathy in their practice. So homeopathy, let's talk about it from a certain perspective. Homeopathy is basically using dilutions of certain products. I mean, there's a million out there, right? Arnica is like one of the more famous ones. But you're using dilutions of a like cures like basis, meaning like you're using a specific compound of something that's already ailing you to then have your body recognize it and then basically use your own body to defeat it. Now, I studied homeopathy in depth, well over 100 books of research and study. I used it myself. I before went to many homeopathic doctors, trying to get myself well back many years ago, back in the day. And my board exam was about 20 to 25% homeopathy-based questions. So I have studied in depth, and I don't give my answer lightly. And so this is my answer, is that I don't use it in my practice, not because I don't believe it works, but because I have not seen it work on a consistent basis with every person that comes into my practice. And I take what I do very, very seriously. And people don't come to see me as a first resort, right? They come to see me as a last resort. They've seen a dozen other practitioners. They've done many different diet plans. They haven't been able to lose weight. They haven't been able to get well. So it's kind of like, I'm the last person, I wish I wasn't, but I'm like the last person they go to, and they often say that, like, you're my last hope. If you can't get me better, then I'm just going to give up. And again, like, that's a lot of pressure on me. I'm happy to take that pressure. I've done the research. I feel very confident in my ability to help people. But the issue is homeopathy does not work for every person. That's the bottom line. And although I think you can get good results with it with some people, I'm working with a lot of people with IBS, Crohn's, colitis, SIBO, Hashimoto's, psoriasis, eczema, depression, autoimmune-based issues, fatigue, and you're not going to get results from a single compound, which is a lot of times how homeopathy is used and kind of should be used because you need to see what's working and what's not. And also, I need to work on multiple things at once, synergies. I need to work on the nervous system as well as the digestion. I need to work out maybe eliminating some bacterial overgrowth in the intestines as well as maybe some yeast. I need to work at balancing magnesium to calcium. So there's a lot I need to work on, and I know those imbalances exist within the body because I do functional medicine testing and I can see these things. So Chad, again, I don't want to offend you, and if you're a homeopathic-based practitioner, because I think there's a lot of good from it, and there's certainly a lot of great research from it. And I studied all of the different methodologies that came before homeopathic medicine as well. And so again, it's part of the studies, it's part of your treatments, but I also think that you may look into other things, that it's not the end all be all. Just like I don't use Ayurvedic medicine for everything. I don't use functional medicine testing for everything. I don't use traditional Chinese medicine. Like, what I try to do is not fit my study to meet with each person that comes to my practice. So I guess a better way of saying that is, I don't make each person that comes into my practice have to fit into a box. What I do is I have a lot of different boxes, whether it's Ayurvedic, whether it's naturopathic, whether it's old school natural hygiene, whether it's detoxification, cleanse, conventional based medicine, acupuncture, whatever I decide is best for that person. And usually it's multiple different things, which is why I'm able to get results. I don't have to use one thing. That's what I give to that person. I don't say all I can help you with is homeopathy, so that's all you get. So again, there's great treatments and you can certainly use them as part of your practice, but that's the reason why you're not seeing me use them in my treatment plans. Again, I don't want to offend anyone who's a big homeopathic-based practitioner. I mean, I've studied Bach flower remedies, all sorts of things. And again, I like them all. I think they're all great, but it's just not the main thing I use in my treatment plan, because when someone comes in, I need the same results that I can repeat every single time. And that's what I'm all about, is making sure that whoever comes to see me, whoever purchases the nutritional supplements I recommend, whoever run the labs that I run, all of those different things, that they can get replicable results and that can happen every single time. So hopefully that's a better answer. And Chad, hopefully that answers your question as well. Thank you everyone that submitted questions over the past few weeks. We're getting to every single one of them. We will get to yours. And again, if you feel that any of these answers could help friends of yours too, feel free to just share the episodes with them. They're all free, and we're going to make sure we keep them coming for many, many years to come. All right, make sure we tune in tomorrow too to another Cabral House Call. Looking forward to sharing more answers then as well. Thanks, everyone.
Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.